A massive move is incoming for the Bengals. This has serious implications for the running back room. A recent report is showing that one could be on the chopping block. We're going to discuss who it could be and what it means for the running back room for the 2025 Bengals. Welcome to the jungle. This is Isaac Coffman with Bengals Digest. So glad you're stopping by. And if you want to be up to date with all the news, the notes, all that good stuff as they are breaking, smash that subscribe. You're in the right place for all Bengals news during this offseason. It continues to heat up. We have OTAs going on right now. Minicamp is right around the corner. So if you don't want to miss a beat, be sure you're subscribed. Smash that button now. So a recent report just came out showing that a running back may be on the chopping block when it comes to the Bengals. They have currently 4 running backs on the roster. You have Chase Brown, you have Zack Moss, and Samaje Perine, who was just recently signed back to the team, and a rookie out of the 6th round, Taj Brooks. So 4 running backs. The question might be then, do the Bengals decide to keep 4 running backs on the roster? It's a good question, but there are reports coming out that they might go with 3. And if that's the case, who is going to be on the outside looking in? There's reports saying that Perine could be that guy. I find this very interesting because Perine was such a big piece. He wasn't that big stat guy. He wasn't this game changer like your Joe Mixon was in the feature back. He was a 3rd down back mostly. Kind of came in to be that solid blocker on 3rd down. He's a solid all-around guy. He knows the system. He knows Zac Taylor, obviously, and his a lot of teammates still with the team from the Super Bowl, from the playoff teams that he was on. So it's a surprise that this report coming out is he's probably going to be the one unlikely to make the roster if the Bengals decide to go with only 3 running backs. Now, why is that case? Well, we have Chase Brown. Chase Brown proved himself last year. We think of Zack Moss, he went down with injury, so that gave him the opportunity because Chase Brown was not the starter at the beginning of the year. He stepped into that role and showed that he could do it. He actually, despite that, not playing a full season at running back, also not being the starter, he also had an injury towards the end of the year where he didn't play out a full schedule. But despite that, the statistics that he has, he almost rushed for 1,000 yards. He had 990 yards rushing and 1,350 yards from scrimmage. He's kind of that it factor. I'm a Chase Brown fan guy. Just he can take it to the house. He's kind of got that electric speed, and you need that in the NFL today. It's a pass first league, and you want to have a running back that can kind of do both. You can be that receiver at times. And Chase Brown has shown that. It's exciting to see those screen passes and how they can turn from just a few yards to possibly that big break for a touchdown. And Zac Taylor felt the same way. This was back in November during that game where he did get injured. The question came up, though, because we've established Chase Brown, it's his position to lose. He's going to be the starter going forward. But this is an interesting quote I found for Zac Taylor, what he said. He said, I think it's important that you have another guy that can take some of the work off of him. Talking about Chase Brown. Whether that's a couple carries, whether that's some other snaps in other areas, he has proven that he's a durable guy and can do a lot of stuff for us. So, excited to see him in this continued role. So again, this was back last year, but this is a point that Zac Taylor is still going to do going forward. You can't just rely on one running back like you used to. There might be a few of those guys in the league still, but for the most part, you need to have that backup. And it feels like that's going to be the game that's going to be going on. Is it going to be Zack Moss? Kind of doing a flip-flop. You had Zack Moss as your starter. He was that reliable guy, much like a Perine, but younger. He could be now the backup. But that's not a bad thing either. He's good at blocking. He's shown he can be kind of that receiver out of the backfield. He's just not going to be quite as electric maybe as Chase Brown, but still a solid backup. It all depends on how he will do coming back from injury. So there's your options right there as a backup. You've got Perine and you've got Zack Moss. Well, what about your recent draft pick of Brooks? This guy is pretty exciting. I have to admit. I'm very excited. This draft this year was so loaded with running backs that the Bengals could wait until the 6th round. This guy probably would have been at least a 2nd rounder if the running back class wasn't so deep. So this is exciting for the Bengals. This is a guy that can be kind of like your Chase Brown, but he can also be your P. Ryan and your Zack Moss, kind of your blockers, things like that. Coming in the 3rd down, he feels like he could do it all too. There's been recent reports of him just coming in and wanting to learn. So that's got me excited. That's the type of attitude you want from your running backs coming in. They're selfless. They're wanting to just learn. And he's got the talent to do it. Last season, he did not have less than 100 yards rushing. Now we're talking, this is Texas Tech. This is a college. Still, sign me up. If a guy is able to put up big numbers in college as a running back, I think that's one you can really buy into. And again, he's a jack of all trades kind of guy. That's why they drafted him. They didn't want to just have this one trick pony that maybe he gets a lot of yards, or maybe he's all speed. Maybe he's just your blocker. They need a guy that can kind of fill in as needed. And that's something we can also look back to with Chase Brown. Chase Brown was such a dynamic running back, but he went down with that injury. And that is something that you got to think about. At the running back position, injuries are going to happen. Really any position, but especially the running back. You're getting the ball oftentimes if you're up on the opponents. Unfortunately, that's how Chase Brown got injured. They were actually ahead and he got injured. It was really sad to see that happen to Chase Brown. But Zach Taylor recognizes that there needs to be depth there. So do you go with either P. Ryan, you go with Moss, or do you go with Brooks as your number 2 guy, the guy that's going to be backing up Chase Brown? But you still want to have that 3rd guy that just, again, don't know with the injuries, you don't know different factors that are played into it. I think it's interesting to think who is going to come out of this then. Who is P. Ryan going to be able to showcase on special teams? Is he going to be able to contribute more as that veteran presence? Maybe they want to go with a more veteran, and Moss certainly is that guy too. But again, going back to P. Ryan is familiar with the system. He's familiar with the guys. Is he that leader in that running backs room that can really add value? All good questions. I think, me personally, I would want to keep P. Ryan. Moss seems like an intriguing person, but I would think of him more on the outs. So that's why this report was interesting. At the same time, Moss has been coming back with encouraging news, and he was supposed to be the starter. So this does make sense to an extent, that if they felt that Moss is going to be coming back from this injury, maybe that does put P. Ryan on the outside. But this running back is going to be interesting. Regardless, I think it's not really a lose situation. This is one of the more solid running back rooms. I feel like you can't go wrong. As long as you just put trust in the coaches, they're going to see who's going to be the best fit. Like we discussed, Chase Brown is the lock, but after that, it's going to be interesting to see. I feel like it's going to be Chase Brown. I think Brooks is actually going to get that too because of how dynamic he is. He's going to be a rookie. He's going to have those growing pains that he's going to have to go through, but he put up the stats. He's got the tangibles to be that number 2. I strongly feel like. So it's going to come down to if the Bengals want to keep 3. I don't know. That's going to be a tough decision. I would almost lean towards P. Ryan, but if Moss is showing that he's back from injury, don't be surprised. It could be that P. Ryan is on the outside looking in. But we want to hear from you guys. What do you think? What is the running back room going to look like for the Bengals? And are you excited for this running back group? I feel like this is the best they've had in a long time. And who knows? We might see a dynamic duo of Chase and Brooks, or take your pick from the others. So let us know in the comments. Voice your thoughts below and what you think of this upcoming season. And again, if you have not already, smash that subscribe so you'll be all up to date when all the breaking news drops. That's going to do it for now, guys. As we say, Hoo day.